Greetings, my League of Eagles, and welcome to Leaders in Light, Love, and Legacy. We're live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fave Unite Radio and TV. I'm Joy Ruffen, your Minister of Enlightenment, Awareness, and Awakenings, and your signature style and leadership specialist. Each week, I am joined by a dynamic voice that will bring you wisdom, insight, and unapologetic truth to the table, because we all love truth, love, and beauty. And the love that flows from us to you today, this morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, it's always sincere, it's always full of integrity and truth. And this month, my Eagles, our theme is, it's your shine time beyond the season. You shine beyond the season. It's a season to brighten up and sparkle in every way, inner and outer. Every conversation we share this month will come back and connect to you and this theme, helping you to step more fully into your presence, your brilliance, and your power. And by golly, you have it. I want you to embody the spotlight each and every moment that you're here. I'd like it if you could launch and subscribe to, my campaign, which is my Style Clarity Bundle. It's a 7-step confidence bundle. Plus, you get a private one-on-one session with me. So subscribe today at joyruffin.com/styleclarity and discover confidence that's genuine and yours. If this is the first Tuesday of the month, well, it isn't, but when it's the first Tuesday, it will be me solo. But today, I'm bringing to you our featured guest speaker, an extraordinary guest. I'm so honored to have her. She's given me so much grace because we had so many issues on my end, mistakes and errors that were made to get her here, but she's here. Her name is Carolyn Roark. And the short introduction, well, I guess I could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to share a little bit with you about her. In addition to her work as a ghostwriter, Carolyn serves as a developmental editor and publishing industry consultant for those who need guidance to get from manuscript to publish masterpieces. Don't you love that masterpiece? She finds the greatest joy in building the books that changes lives. All of you have heard me from time to time say that I love libraries, I love books, and I lived in the library because I was so confused as a young girl. She helps you to solve many big problems that you might have that will make this world better because of the book that you're going to write. So before I go on and on and on, and you know that I can, remember the theme is you shine beyond the season. And I just want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation that Carolyn and I will have today. And Carolyn, as they say on the telly, come on up and welcome to Leaders in Light, Love, and Legacy.
Thank you for letting me join you today. It's a pleasure.
The pleasure is mine, my love, and thank you for all the grace that you've given me. I'm so grateful, and I never, ever forget a kindness. Now, Carolyn, before we get going here, there's so much I want to discuss with you because I'm so repetitive in some of the things that I repeat. And you've heard me say that the library was my second home, and I love books even today with Kindle and technology and all of that going on. But how and when did you get started in this passion and this love that you have for book writing and editing and all of that good stuff?
Well, books have always been my best friends. Much like you, I was a great reader when I was a child. I took great pleasure in books. I, most of the time, if I'm honest, would rather be in the company of a book than most people. So I always enjoyed them. I always loved reading, and I enjoyed writing for pleasure and for my own diversion. I had another career as an academic, and I left the ivory tower in 2008, and I needed to figure out a new path for my life. And I thought, well, all right, I'm going to have to reinvent myself. What is something that I know how to do that would help me develop a new career and, find a way of feeding this dog who's sitting here next to me? And one of the things that I had done a great deal of when I was teaching was work with students to become better writers and to communicate more clearly. And so I started doing some coaching and also doing some short form writing. I think really I did what everybody does when they kind of get into freelance writing and editing, is I just kind
Mhm.
of got on those platforms like Odesk and Guru and things that became Readsy and
Mhm.
all that, and started offering my services, and I wrote whatever came my way and I edited whatever came my way, and then eventually I began to realize that the thing that made me happiest was working on books. And that's the point when I began to concentrate specifically on doing that.
What a great explanation. And I loved every bit of it, Carolyn, because a lot of what you shared in different ways was my initiation into books and the love of books and all of that, and the pleasure and the enjoyment that they brought me because I could escape through the books. But you also mentioned something else, Carolyn, before we get going with so much that I want to ask you about. You mentioned about, and I promised myself as a happy senior that when I became in this cycle of life, that I wouldn't sit back and complain about the younger generation and how they missed out on this, that, and the other. But you mentioned something that I am aware, because I'm a keen observer. Better writers and the communication, the art and the skill of communications. What have you found? I'm taking you a little bit off the rails here, but I know you can dance. So what are some of the things that you find today with many people, whatever generation they're in, with the communication skill and the art of being a better communicator? What's missing today?
I think most of us could stand to work on improving our concentration.
Mm-hmm.
There is a certain advantage in being able to task shift very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
move from this thing to that thing and pivot and be adaptable. There's advantages there, but
Yes.
there's also something to be said for sustained concentration and
Mm-hmm.
really being able to focus deeply on something for a while and think deeply about things for a while. I mean, some of the things that are the greatest pleasure and satisfaction in life are things that you really need to focus to do. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy certain kinds of crafts. And like if I'm sitting there knitting and if I lose my focus for just a moment, I'm going to have to pull out a whole row of stitches, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think the same is true for communication. That's one thing. And the other thing, and I don't think this is new. I don't think it's a new problem per se. I think this
Mm-hmm.
is a human
Mm-hmm.
issue that we all have to work on in developing our lives, is the ability to listen deeply. Listening to others, other humans, listening to things in our environment. You were talking about how important it is to be observant.
Yes.
And it's, I think, something that most of us have to learn and develop. I have known
Yes.
very few people, and I include myself in this, right? I've known
Mm-hmm.
very people who have deep listening as an innate ability.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having to learn how to do it every day. I'm
Mm.
having to practice it every day. My work as a ghostwriter and developmental editor require it, but it's something that I have to develop. It's a
Mm-hmm.
muscle I have to work out. And I think that that's true for most human beings, that listening, especially to other human beings, is a muscle that we have to work out. And there's so many benefits to doing so. Our relationships with others get better.
Mm-hmm.
Our ability to communicate successfully with one another gets better. Our ability to help and support each other gets better. I think your level of satisfaction in life can only increase if you become a really good listener.
Carolyn, I tell you, that was so beautifully expressed, and no reason to doubt why it would not be coming from you. But you mentioned for me the two keys that I needed to hear over again, because we are in the instant society because of AI, which I love, but you have to know, like anything else, how to utilize it. But you mentioned the two keys there: concentration and listening, but not only listening deeply. And it is a muscle that most of us have to constantly exercise. So that was beautiful. And it's a journey. It's a journey that never, ever ends. So beautifully
Never,
said.
ever.
Never, ever, ever. And that's that inquisitive mind that wants to learn, to grow, and so on. But Carolyn, let's go here. How do you know when and if it is the right time to write a book? And I think the key word there, Carolyn, is the right time, because most of us, how do you know when it is time? How do we go about deciphering and getting that in our noodle?
That is an excellent question. And I have had so many people come to me and say either, well, I have this passionate desire to write a book, or more often, everybody tells me I should write a book.
Yes.
And I've known lots of people for whom they've heard that, and so they become intrigued. And anybody can write a book. And if that's something you want very much to do, of course, you should feel free to do so. But the time to write that book is when you know what you want that book to do for you as its author. Oh. Because if you don't get clarity on that thing, that specific nugget of wisdom, right, then you will probably not be satisfied with the end result. You can do all kinds of work to get, your manuscript written. You can throw all your time, all your emotion, all your energy, and all your money at it. You can do all those things. And if you don't know, what is it that I want this book to do for me, then the chances are strong that you're going to get to the end of it and that book's going to get out there and it's not going to do what you hoped it would do, and you're going to be disappointed, and you're going to say, well, why did I do that? Why did I spend all of my time and all of my energy and all of my money working on this when the things that I was hoping for didn't happen? And I got to tell you, honestly, a lot of the time, beyond sort of a vague notion maybe that they'd like to have a bestseller, a lot of folks didn't ever really know what they wanted the book to do. So you got to understand, and there's no wrong answer. There's a right answer for you. And that answer could be as simple as, I want to share my wisdom with my children and their children, right? It could be, I want to try and, I've been through some things and I've come out the other side, and now I want to touch the lives of people who are going through what I went through. It could be, I want to build my career as a speaker, or I want to get different clients for my business, or it could be, I want to convince people to change the way they think about fill in the blank. All of those are perfectly legitimate. But you've got to know, you've got to be clear on what it is you want that book to do for you. Once you get clarity on that, then you can get clear on what you want that book to do for your reader, which is a separate but connected thing. But first and foremost, get that vision. What do I want when this book is out there in the world? What return on my investment, and I mean that investment of all the things, right? Your heart, your mind, your time, and your money, all of it. What do I want the return on everything I poured into it to be for me?
Wow. Woo. I have to say, for all of my Eagles out there who are tuning in and listening now, or when you come for the replay, you have assignment when you come here, and that is to touch base with this lady, because all of these gems that she's sharing with us, you can do a one-on-one with her and find out much more about this, because what she just shared, I think a lot of people, Carolyn, want to write a book, but they're not sure about the right time. But more importantly, you shared something else. What do you want the book to do for you? Because most people want a bestseller and to do this, but how do you want it to be a bestseller? What do you want to impart to the people who come to read your book? What do you want to share? That's the jewel that you gave out that I think sometimes most of us, and I'm thinking about writing a book myself down the road here, but that's what maybe we don't think about with as much clarity as we need. So I love your explanation on that. And the way that you gave it to us is spot on. So I love that. Now, here's another thing that ties in with this I think it does. You let me know. Is a book a necessary part of one's legacy? That's a good one. That's one of my favorite words, by the way, Carolyn.
Yeah. And that's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the correct way to look at it is it's necessary if you feel like you cannot be complete without it. Now, because a book is a lot of work, and it's you have to pour a lot of yourself in all kinds of ways into it. And it's heavy lifting, it's just, there's heavy lifting involved. And so if you're going to take the time and the energy and invest in it, do it because you feel like this is a thing that you need to do to have completeness in some way. And that could be completeness in terms of, as I said before, I want to leave this as a gift for my family, and I want them to have this tangible thing. Or it could, in a whole other field of your life, if you say to yourself, I'm not going to be able to move my business to the next level that I want it to go without this as a tool to help me, then it's necessary.
I think that's spot on in this way, because when you talk about the time and energy, and it's a lot of work, because at least many years ago, way before my timing now, I think that word legacy was only used and applied towards those who are in the last cycle of life. But now legacy is like, what do you want to leave? What do you want to share with others that will be everlasting and long lasting, that will give you always a symbol of what you are here to do and to imprint? Because I believe that here on Mother Earth, we're all here to do and share and give our gifts and wisdom, whatever it might be. So that was a great explanation. Have you found that, I think it's only of late, Carolyn, that this word legacy has become so big? Why is that, you think? Because back in the day, legacy was not used that often, but now you see legacy everywhere.
Yeah. I wonder
too.
If maybe... Now, I've never thought about this before. You've asked me to think about something new, but now that you've asked me to think about it,
good.
I wonder maybe if once upon a time in previous eras, there was a notion that the only people who could or had the right to leave a legacy were people who were on the world stage, or who were captains of industry, or who were, kind of at the top of the pile, as it were, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now, because the way, that we look at things has changed so much, and so many more things. I hesitate to use the word democratized, but we have access in some ways. Like, we have access to before the turn of the millennium, it was very hard for your average person to be able to write and publish a book, for example. And now really anybody who wants to can make that dream become real. So that, for one thing, I think there's easier access, and that allows us to say, hey, you know what? It may not be that everybody in the whole wide world wants to hear my story, but I know there are some people out there who do, and I want to connect with those people. I don't need to connect with the whole wide world. I just need to connect with my people, wherever they are, whomever they are, however we define ourselves.
Oh my goodness, Carolyn, you and I are going to be dangerous together, because I just love I love the way you string your words together. And I love how you started off with once upon a time, because once upon a time it was the top of the top, the cream of the crop, and all that other nonsense. But now most everybody is thinking and wants to be a celebrity, an influencer, an entertainer in some way where they leave a legacy. So that's why that word has taken on its power now. I love that explanation, and thank you for that. Tell us how people get in contact with you. We're going to put out as much information as we can on your poster and in the caption that we're going to use. But just here and now, how do people connect with you?
Right. The easiest ways are to visit my website, which, by the way, is just about at the end of a much needed style refresh. So, so hopefully that will be done very shortly. But you can reach me via my website, which is
Mm-hmm.
writingtexan.com, as in
Mm-hmm.
WRITING, writingtexan.com. I have a YouTube channel that has among other things, sort of fun videos talking about common writing mistakes. They can find me there. And it's
Mm.
easy to find me on LinkedIn.
Okay, well, those are the three good ones right there, and you can't miss out there. So, and I want to get back to at some point in time common writing mistakes, but for now, I'm going to go a little bit forward. And thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure that a lot of people who, like myself, are thinking about writing a book, but haven't gotten quite to the clarity that they need before they do it. And you're sharing a lot of gems with me today, tonight, afternoon, evening, wherever people are. But let's go to what ties in with these common writing mistakes, maybe. What are some of the biggest obstacles to finishing a book, and how do we overcome it once we begin? The biggest obstacles that you've found thus far with all the people you've worked with.
Time is one.
Time.
And it's about finding the time, but it's about making the time. You make the time for the things that are your priority. And so I think coming to a place where you decide you really want to move forward with it, and you figure out what it is you're going to do to move your schedule around, to carve out the time that you need to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking earlier about concentration, right? So sometimes
Yes.
what you have to do time is about removing distractions,
Right.
so that you can concentrate. So that's one. Another one I think is a lack of knowledge about the publishing industry. Like, you can not knowing how to take the sentences you write, the words you write, and shape them in such a way that they work well in a book, right? Like the kind of writing, for example, that would work well for you to send a text or an email to your best friend, or the kind of writing that you might need to do to send a letter of complaint to that, local power company that keeps getting it wrong, or, is different to the kind of writing that you need to do to make it easy for a reader to follow and engage with you in a book. So that's one. And then knowing what steps to take. What are going to be the best steps for you personally to take to get that manuscript that you spent so much of your time and your energy on through to publication in the right way? Because there's a lot of different choices out there in this day and age for how you might get a book to publication. And they're not all equal in that they're not all right for you and your specific circumstance. And what would be a good fit for somebody else might not be a good fit for you. And also, the sort of downside of the democratization of publication is that there are a lot of scammers out there. It is really easy to find yourself in a situation where you've spent a lot of money and not gotten a single thing back for it. So those, I'd say, are the main things. And then also, of course, and I think I've found that women tend to struggle with this last one especially, perfectionism.
I'm laughing. Yes.
I cannot let this book out into the world until I'm absolutely sure that it is without flaw. And then it's, and then it never gets out there, right? It's one of those cases. Publishing is definitely a place where the perfect is the enemy of the good. And the good is what we need, and the good is what's going to get you moving forward. Perfect is not going to get you moving forward. Perfect is, if you think about it, a thing that is perfect doesn't move, it doesn't change. It can't move, it can't change. And so
Carolyn,
perfectionism will keep you frozen.
Yes, and Carolyn, I'm chuckling away because I was in that camp a long time ago, but I've given it up and I've gone too far over to the dark side now, so I'm trying to find my balance. But that said, I love the way much of everything that you share with us, there's such an alignment, because when you talk about one of the things about writing a book is finding and making one and the other or combine the time, and that takes concentration and listening deeply to what you want to say and how you want to say. It's a journey. And today, because we are and we're going to end up here with AI, we want to talk a little bit about that. That's a big marker for anyone who wants to write a book, but how you utilize it. So before we wrap this up, share with us what everyone should know and understand. I know you're chuckling, so am I, about AI, because AI has boom into the stratosphere, yet it has a lot of excellent points and a lot of things that we have to be wary of. Yes.
So here's what I would tell people to, in terms of how you think about AI. Mm-hmm. Think of AI as being like any new supplement that hits the market, right? Like any new health supplement.
Yeah.
At first, there's this promise that it's going to fix everything that's wrong with you. And all you got to do is take this supplement and suddenly you're going to lose all the weight and your hair's going to go back to the color it was when it was 20 and your knees are going to be perfect and you're going to have all this energy, all these promises. And then the next thing that happens is everybody rushes to get on that bandwagon and put that supplement in everything that you consume, and everybody's trying to sell that supplement. And then it turns out that supplement maybe doesn't do quite what it was promised to do after all, and maybe we ought to take a step back. AI is like that. There is utility. There are definitely things I think it's going to be able to do to help us and support us and bring efficiency into our lives. Mm-hmm, but it is not going to fix everything. It is not going to cure all your ills. It is not going to solve all your problems. And so approach it slowly, approach it with curiosity and caution.
Yes.
And also understand, this is very important for publishing right now. If you're going to use AI to assist you with your writing, do it very carefully. Among other things, if you use AI to help you write your book, like to write the content of your book, right now, the traditional publishers, and you dream of getting a traditional contract, the traditional publishers will not accept you because they don't know how to deal with AI yet. They're trying to figure out how AI is going to work with their intellectual property and their ability to protect their copyright and make money. So they don't want AI generated content. So if you're going to use AI directly to assist you in the writing, then understand that you're probably going to need to go self-publishing. If you want to use it to help you with your research, it's okay. Go ahead and do it. But follow that old maxim, trust, but verify. If you use AI to get you some research, definitely follow up on all of the sources that it uses. Make sure that they're real. Make sure that they're presenting something that's accurate. The last thing you want to do is end up in a situation. I was reading a story the other week that there was a lawyer in Texas who tried to use AI to write his legal argument in a case. And I think it was ChatGPT he used, made up a set of legal precedents and cases that didn't exist. And when he got into court, he was embarrassed publicly by the fact that he was basing his argument on something that didn't exist. You don't want that to be you. No. So there's no harm in playing with it. There's no harm in figuring out how it might be of use to you. Just, keep it low and slow. Don't go all in just yet. I'm just smiling from ear to ear, and my mouth is wider than it usually is because everything that you said speaks to me. I love
ChatGPT and some of the other apps that are out here. And I like AI. But what I've learned is that you have to give it your flavor, the flair and the flow of what you want to say in your own words, and then have it add its magic to it, but keep in line with what you want to say and how you want to say it. Don't add all of these buzzwords that everybody's using, and play with it. I love how you ended. Play and have your curiosity. Wonderful way to end with that. I tell you, the time is gone here. I don't know where it goes. I say this every time. You'll have to come back and do this again, because
I would enjoy that very much.
Oh, I would love to have you too, because there's so much here to share. What kind of words of wisdom, food for thought, what seed do you want to leave people with? If you want to give them again your website, your YouTube channel, how they can contact you, and what do you want to say to those who are thinking about it, really haven't come to a conclusion? What do you want to leave us with? Let me just say that and end it. The stage is yours.
Well, thank you. I first off would say that the age of books is far from over.
Ooh.
And so I think that's especially comforting for those of us who love books as much as we do.
Mm-hmm.
And that if your listeners have a dream of adding a book to their life, their legacy, then that is definitely something that they can explore. And there are many different ways to make it happen. Perhaps if I come back, we can talk about some of the different tools that people can seek out to help them. And then, again, I think if I wanted to leave them with anything, it would be the message that making a book happen begins with clarity, begins with understanding what you want that book to do to serve you as the author. And again, I'm Carolyn Roark. I'm the Writing Texan. You can find me at writingtexan.com or on my YouTube channel or on LinkedIn, and I look forward to engaging with your followers.
My goodness gracious sakes alive. I've enjoyed this probably as much or more than the audience, those who are tuning in now. Not more, but the same. You were absolutely yummy and delicious. Thank you so much. I'm going to put you in the green room, and I'm going to be back with you in just a second.
That sounds great.
Oh, you have been delicious. Absolutely wonderful. My audience, my eagles, let me share with you this one thought. Carolyn has given us so much information, but what she said that stuck with me, and I hope it sticks with you, especially if, like me and like Carolyn, you love books, the age of books for everyone, it's not over. That's powerful. And that's so good to hear with all this technology that we're all dealing with. And some of it's really good. It's learning how to. What a rich and stirring conversation we've had today, wouldn't you say? We shared with Carolyn, or Carolyn has shared with us, so much of the beauty and the passion of the work that she's doing. And she's inviting you to connect with her. And I want you to take this key takeaway, that books can nourish your souls in ways that you can't even imagine. And what you need to know is that the time is right when you know for sure what you want the book to do for you with clarity. We mention this word all the time. You have an assignment. You know that we love homework here. Make sure that you connect with Carolyn, because she's going to share with you a lot of gems, jewels, tips that probably will be something that you need to hear and to know at this point in time. That's a wrap for today's episode of Leaders in Light, Love, and Legacy. Remember, I'm Joy Ruffen, and it's always my honor to share with you a featured guest speaker who comes to you to share her passion, love, and her absolute wisdom and knowledge of what she's so passionate about. And as your minister of enlightenment, awareness, and awakenings, let me leave you with this. So many use the word empowerment, but few truly understand it. Empowerment without liberation is empty. And Carolyn spoke to that in several different ways today. Liberation comes first, breaking free, shedding what no longer serves you, and being absolutely confident in what works for you innately. That's true within your heart and soul connected. Only then can empowerment take root and flourish the way that it was meant to. When the two walk hand in hand, true transformation unfolds. And that's when you step into the signature style that radiates your confidence, that you can wear and truly own your spotlight. And remember, this is a season to shine beyond the season. So my Eagles, remember that we're always here for you every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fave Unite Radio. And you can also find us on YouTube and all the other social media sites. And I leave you with this: keep rising, keep shining, and soar high, my Eagles, because that's what you're here to do. My League of Eagles, you're a very special group of men and women who know that you're leaders with love, heart, and soul connected. I can't wait to meet and greet you one-on-one at some point in time soon, and it will happen. Until then, remember, you shine beyond the season, and this is your season. All the best and much love from my heart to yours. Cheers.